What is the main point in a fight between the West and Russia?
Russia and the West have different views of the world order, of how the world should be run, different worldviews. And as a result of that, that wouldn't matter if they didn't rub up against each other so much. It's very hard to find areas, even though the West tries valiantly and perhaps in vain, where we might build a cooperative relationship. And that's going to be particularly difficult if you don't agree on first principles, if you don't agree on the basics. And since we don't do that, then anything else is going to be rather superficial.
The persecution of Navalny's supporter follows the pattern of the persecution of activists from Russia's national minorities. It is interesting that in this context, you are citing an example of the persecution of Navalny's supporters and not, for example, Tatar, Bashkir or North Caucasian activists. Is it by chance, or is the West not aware of the persecution of national minority activists in Russia?
I think that there is plenty that the West is simply not aware of. The West tends to focus on just a couple here and there, and those which are further away geographically or less important somehow to the West, or where there's not a charismatic leader involved, or where something particularly egregious has not happened in one particular sort of flashpoint in time. But you point out to the persecution, for example, of the Tatar peoples, and that again is not something which has got a sort of a clearly defined central focus point. And as a result of that, then we tend to move towards these, so supposedly sexier images of Navalny as a brave stalwart standing up for anti-corruption and for freedom and democracy. It's the way of the world, but it's not to deny that there are plenty of other minorities which are persecuted, as I say, across time and space within the Russian Federation.